Welcome to hot air ballooning. The purpose of this tape is to introduce new crew members to the fundamentals of hot air ballooning. The tool we used for this tape was primarily the Cameron system. While you may fly an Aerostar, Balloon Works, or Thunder Colt, many of the crewing fundamentals will be similar. We will be including some specific features of other balloon types in parts of this presentation. Though some hardware may be the same on a particular model, the pilot may have special rigging requirements. Always take direction from your pilot. When in doubt, ask. This tape is not intended to replace, but more to support the pilot in training new crew members. The typical balloon system is comprised of the envelope, the basket, often made of wicker, burners, single and double, low tapes, burner support, skirt or scoop, deflation system, fuel tanks, suspension cables, and crown line. Some basic rules you need to be aware of include no smoking, no drinking. For the pilot, no drinks 8 hours before flight. Be on time. Listen to pilot's weather info and flight plan. Don't pretend to know. Ask if in doubt. No location of fire extinguisher. Wear appropriate clothing. Have emergency phone numbers available. Have fun, but take your crewing responsibilities seriously. Now you want to lift up and then slide the basket partially out. Hands on, everyone. Okay, now lift. And watch your step coming off. These are your fuel tanks. They're 15-gallon tanks, full of fuel. They weigh about 100 pounds. This whole setup here, like you see it with the burners and everything, weighs almost 400 pounds. Okay, the first step is to pull the upright poles and insert them right here, just like this. Okay. Now, these are real strong. They take a lot of bending. The next thing you want to do is pull the upright covers out and lay them right over the edge of the basket. Next, we're going to come out with the burner. All right, someone grab over here and then come straight up with it. Okay. All right, now bring it over just like this. Okay, now position it, and then you come up, pull these ears down, come right on to the upright poles. Watch your fingers that they don't get pinched. Okay, so it sits there just like that. As we mentioned earlier, remember that if you're crewing for a pilot who owns a Balloon Works or an Aerostar balloon, that their rigging and assembly will be different. Always listen to the pilot for instruction. Okay, the next step is to attach the basket cables to the burner frame. Okay? This is the carabiner. Unscrew it. Opens just like that. Take these cables up. Hold in your hand. Put one in. Come into the burner frame. Put the other one in. And then push it up just like that. Remember, when you tighten this down, bring it all the way to the bottom and then back it off about a turn and a half. Once the pressure gets on the system, if you have it tightened all the way down, it's really difficult to undo it. You have to take a pair of pliers to undo it. So you back it off just a little bit. Now, if you're having a problem reaching, just put your foot in the foothold here and come up just like this, see? And you can get right up to it. Basket always lays over with this side up, this side down to the ground. And the way we know that is because of this thermistor cable hooks to the bottom right side of the envelope. It's important to know what the temperature is in the top of the balloon, as most balloons have operating temperature limits. The thermistor cable goes to the top of the balloon envelope and measures the temperature at that location. Now, the next thing is the burner system hookup itself. Let me show you how this works. Just undo these hoses and lay them to the inside of the basket. If you drop them to the outside, they're long and they'll drop into the dirt. How do you determine which side the hoses, or which post the hoses go down? Well, on this side it's pretty obvious because you've only got a tank on this side. Okay, this would come over to this side like this. You want to leave room here so that the burner can be gimbaled. Okay, like that. So you leave slack up here. Then you get one of these upright covers. You wrap it around just like this. The fuel hoses are attached to the fuel tanks. Always let the pilot do this. Okay, this unless you have direction or have been told to do it. So to us, we lay over right with the winds. I'm going to tilt this back a little bit, and then we lay the basket over on its side, gently.
Help check launch area for glass, wire, sharp rocks, or objects that might damage the envelope. Watch for any tears in the envelope during the inflation and notify the pilot or one of the experienced crew people if you see anything.
Okay, now we get the envelope at the back of the trailer and carry it over here. Whenever you pack the balloon or unpack the balloon, you orient yourself with the flap away from the basket. So we want to turn this counterclockwise about 9 degrees. That way the envelope always comes out and goes in the same way. All right, we need to pull the envelope bag about 6 or 8 feet this way. There? That's pretty good right there. The next step is to come out. This should roll out if it's packed properly, just like this. Okay, this is our scoop. How do you tell what's up or down? Okay, remember we talked about the thermistor cable, so we know it goes to this bottom side. So you get one crew member to hold this up, come back with this, see that it's not twisted, pull it back, come down and just attach, just like that right there. It's okay to use your bare hands during the assembly process if you have gloves that don't have good dexterity, but it's real important to use your gloves during the inflation process when there's a lot of stress on the balloon and you're using ropes. That's when there's danger of hurting yourself. Another thing that you want to let the pilot do until you become experienced is let him attach the thermistor cable. As you see, there's 3 little prongs here with 3 little holes here, and there's a little point there that it goes together. So you don't want to damage it. Make sure it goes together. And then for disassembly, push this little black button, pull it right apart. There's 2 ways you can do the scoop. You can attach the scoop to the burner frame prior to inflation or after the inflation. Unless it's real windy, we don't attach the scoop until after the inflation, and that way you run less risk of burning the scoop. It is Nomex and it's burn resistant, but it will turn brown if you get the flame real close to it. Okay, once everything's assembled, the next step, the pilot will ask you to take the envelope bag and stretch it straight out. So a couple of people get on either side of it. Okay, this is the crown of the balloon. Now, as soon as you unroll the balloon out, the first thing you want to do is take the bag, roll it up, and it'll pack inside of itself. Then what you do, you ask the pilot, are you going to take the bag with you, or you want us to put it in the chase truck? Next step is to find the crown ring, pull it out just like this. Then pull the crown line. This is the crown line. Now the crown line is daisy chained so that it doesn't tangle. If you're assigned to the crown, you definitely want to have gloves on. Now, the proper technique for holding the crown is to hold on to it just like this. That way you get your full body weight during the inflation process. Don't ever put it around you like this, because what happens is you lose half of your body weight and it can pull you off the ground. You'll see people doing it, but it's not a good idea. If it's real windy, sometimes we'll put 2 people on the crown line, or even 3. Sometimes we even put 2 crown lines on and have them going in different directions to keep the balloon from rolling around so much. Okay, what we want to do first is we want to spread the envelope just a little bit. We want to come up and grab about this far down, go down a couple load tapes, grab by the load tape, and we're going to kind of pour out gently. Make sure you keep your feet off of the cables and off of the fabric. Sometimes we operate with 2 fans. Most people operate with 1 fan. The reason for using 2 fans, it just blows the envelope up faster. Proper placement for the fan should be about midway of the basket, about 6 inches from the basket, pointing directly up. And then you have someone stay with the fan the whole time. It's a safety thing. You want to have 2 people on the mouth of the balloon. Now, as we begin the inflation, if the balloon tends to roll this way or that way, don't try to hold it or pull it like that. Just drop down a rope or pick up a rope, because there's no way you can hold the balloon. This balloon has about 2 tons of inertia once it's full of air. So you just kind of, you just let it kind of roll as it will. Don't try to fight it. Always be careful not to step on the fabric. That's real important.
Once the balloon is inflated sufficiently with cold air from the fan, the pilot will ignite the burners and begin the hot air inflation. Crew members will also be securing the fan and loading any gear into the trailer that is not needed by the pilot. This ensures the chase vehicle is ready to go immediately after the balloon lifts off. Crew members will help stabilize the balloon and provide their weight as the envelope comes to an upright position.
If I tell you to have weight on the basket, that means arms over the edge. Don't stick your feet in the handles or stick your feet inside of footholds or anything like that. Don't wrap any of the ropes around your hand at any time. Try to stay on the upwind side of the balloon. If you get on the downwind side and the balloon was to break tether, you know there's potential for injury there. Okay, let me have light hands just a second and see how we look.
The crown line is brought into the pilot and secured.
Okay, you can bring it in, Henry.
The crew members need to be alert to commands regarding weight on and weight off procedures from the pilot.
Okay, light hands. Here we go. All right, now let me have hands off. Okay, great. Thanks, crew. Appreciate it.
The crew checks for any equipment that has not been loaded, loads it, and the chase begins. Chase vehicles should ideally have a driver and a navigator, detailed up-to-date maps of the flying areas. The vehicle must always be operated in a safe and lawful manner. Never speed or drive carelessly chasing a balloon. Maintain radio contact, but keep conversations professional and brief. Keep the balloon in sight at all times.
You have a map, and you try to think of what your options are ahead of you.
For and advise the pilot of livestock, hidden transmission lines, and other hazards the pilot may not be able to see.
Take one hold there. Let's see what we can do on that area.
10-4, there are some power lines running behind the houses, so be aware of that.
Roger, thank you.
Estimate the balloon's flight path and utilize roads to intersect the flight path when possible. Also listen to the pilot's suggestions for recommended routes.
Any road options you'd like to consider?
Just looking at the map and getting across the reservoir.
If you are not close at hand when the balloon lands, don't panic or drive carelessly. Arrive safely. Landowner relations are an important aspect of ballooning. Make every effort to obtain permission when entering a landowner's property before the balloon lands if possible.
It's going to bounce. A little bit more
Behind the basket. Always get behind. Wait on or what?
Yeah.
Never get in front of a dragging basket. Do not tear down, cut through, or otherwise cause damage to property. If there is an emergency, be prepared to repair or repay. Be mindful of the rights of the people whose property you are on. When seeking permission, identify yourself and the circumstances, assuring this is not a crash. If you are unable to locate the landowner, pack the envelope and disassemble the basket before your chase vehicle enters the field to load. The vehicle in a landowner's field is much more offensive than just the crew packing the envelope. If you must leave the chase vehicle, be sure it is locked and you have the keys. Keep spectators at a distance unless advised otherwise by the pilot. Remember, no smoking around balloons. Listen to the pilot's instructions for what to do during the deflation and pack-up process.
Okay, let's lay it over. Now we need to squeeze the envelope a little bit before we roll this all up. Now let's go down here and I'll show you how to put the parachute top back in. You grab this load ring, this helps to kind of pull it together. Each one of these load tapes are numbered. And they have a little Velcro tab. See number 10? And then on the parachute, there are Velcro tabs that are numbered also. See, that's number 10. Okay? Whenever you attach this Velcro tab, make sure you get a good, full placement, just like this. Okay? Now, you just come up until you get to the next one. Okay? Once you get to the next one, then you can drop that one. And they'll line right up every time.
We always take care to repack the balloon the same way each time, so there are no surprises during assembly at the next flight.
The next thing we would do if we were packing is go ahead and do our daisy chain here. You start just like this, get you a loop, and you pull it through. Just got a loop, pull it through, and just take this and loop it in just like that. Back, roll this just like this. All right, now bring it down like this. Roll that in just like that. Now lift it up. Okay, now what happens is you get about 2 feet apart. And as they bring it to us, we'll drop it in like that. And you walk right back around and pick up another piece of fabric. One more time, about like that. Okay, now everybody turn around and sit on it.
Yeah.
There you go. And stretch it back down to the burner. Now you don't attach it, you just pull it up. Okay, now lay the scoop down. You take the envelope cables off. Okay, let me detach the thermistor wire. Okay. Take these two and hook them together. Just like that. You just take it and lay it in the scoop just like this. Okay? And then you fold the scoop over it like this. And then you just keep folding. And then you roll it up from that direction. It unfolds and it's in place, ready to hook up.
For an Aerostar balloon, the skirt ring is twirled, then packed.
Come on. Okay, all right, good. Push!
Okay, now we just pick this up and set it right in the top. The other crew members come over here and let's get around the edges of the bag. See, kind of pick it up and set it down in there. I'll pull the flap over, and in the knot, grab the knot and start pulling slowly and let the other crew members tuck the fabric in. Put both hands there. See, I pull, pack it, and then come up with a little knot. Let's stand the basket upright. I always stick the carabiner back in here and then slip it right down inside these little ropes on the side. Now we'll coil these up. Thing to remember that whenever you uncoil these hoses, always lay the hoses to the inside of the basket. They're real long. If you lay them to the outside, they'll fall into the dirt and you'll get debris up in them. Okay? Okay, so come up just with one. Come up like this, and then somebody get the other side. 2 people. Okay, fold the ears under. Okay, come inside the basket. There we go. Okay, now hold the hoses up. Somebody grab the hoses, hold them up as we lower the burner in. Yeah, now we just lay these in just like that. Okay, now these come out. On this side, they both go down in here, and on this side, you put them on either one. Hey, it's got 1, 2, 3. Got a couple more bare handles there.
Does this need to be thinner over here?
Yeah. Okay, 8 people, got 8 handles. 2 tanks to the back.
Check the landing site for litter. Close all access gates and return property as you found it. And we have a special prayer that we say for our first timers. It's called the Balloonist Prayer. I need y'all to bow your heads while I say the prayer. The winds have welcomed you with softness. The sun has warmed you with his hands. You have flown so high and so well that God has joined you in laughter and brought you gently back into the loving arms of Mother Earth.
Some fun, eh?